Hello, everybody. I hope everybody's doing good today. Patrick is in Las Vegas for SEMA this week, so you're stuck with me. And we're going to go through a couple different content creation stuff, but I hope everybody's having a great week to get started. I know it's kind of cold fronts kind of move through most of the country, and we're kind of dealing with some colder temperatures, so I hope everybody's staying warm. And if you got a garden like me, go out there and take care of all the stuff that you need to take care of and get it in before the frost kills it all. So today we're going to go over a few different, actually going to kind of go through my process of how I kind of create content for some clients. If you have questions along the way, please put them into the comment section down below, and I'll try to touch on them. We're going to hit a few different things as far as creating easy content. I know a lot of you are busy, whether you're running your own business and trying to find different ways to create content is sometimes tricky. And so this is going to be one of the methods I'm going to try to show you guys where you can kind of create generic content, but it's going to be customized or personalized to you. So hopefully this kind of tutorial-ish type of setup that I'm going to do today will help you guys out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first start with, we're going to look at a website called Unsplash. Now, this is one of those spots. There's a few different ones that you can do where the content is copyright free. You don't have to worry about using somebody else's material. This stuff essentially is free and put online for you to use and to add your logo or to manipulate in any way that you might want to. So there's Unsplash. There's also Pexels, P-E-X-E-L-S, and I will put those down into the comments here. So if you guys are looking to use these sites, make sure that you definitely check them out. They're going to be a big help with kind of creating new content for you. Oops, and I spelled that one wrong. Let me make sure I have the... So check those out. If you have any questions, obviously reach out and let me know, and I will try to kind of walk you through some of that stuff if you ever have any questions. So we're looking at Unsplash here. And like I said, this is all free minus the ones that say Unsplash Plus. Hopefully that kind of comes in. I know it's looking a little distorted on my end. So essentially you can kind of create, or if you're looking for a specific topic, you can use this website, go on here and kind of find images and stuff that kind of are related to what you do. Since we do a lot of window tint companies and PPF, I'm kind of going to stick in that range. So to start, you can kind of come up with a couple different keywords. And just like AI, it's the more specific you are with what you're looking for, it'll kind of come up with the images. But sometimes it's not always that. So I'm going to start a little broader just to kind of give you an idea, and then we can kind of work around from there. So essentially you could put in vehicles, and this is going to give you an array of vehicles in different ways. So there's scooters, there's parking lots. We've got, this looks like a dealership, highways, or a lot of times I'll use one of these where it's just an image of a Jeep or a truck or an SUV. And when you click on it and then scroll down, it'll give you related images. So this is going to give you a bunch of different images with Jeeps or off-roading vehicles. And since we do a lot of stuff with window tint, and you can kind of see these windows are fairly tinted, but I'm noticing it's a little pixelated. It's not as clear as I personally would like to use. So I can scroll around. If I want to just look for Jeeps, and this will now give me a whole bunch. And obviously, if you don't put anything more, you'll get some in winter, you'll get some in the fall, in the jungle, on desert roads, close-ups. So this, like I said, it depends on what you put in as far as the prompts in order to get specific images that you're looking for. So let's say I want to do, like I said, if you want to get even more specific, let's do a Mercedes SUV at night. And you can see now, since I put probably too many words, it's only going to go to the at night. And let's just take that away. And so now we have a bunch of Mercedes SUVs. So let me see here if I can find one that I can work with that I like. I think the one at the top probably was the best one. Oh, this is a nice one. So this one, obviously, if we're going to do one that's kind of related to window tint, I like that this one has some tints. And the other thing to think about too, if I'm adding on a logo or adding on anything, I want to have the space in the image to place it. So I'm going to download this one, and this will either go to your download folder, at least if you have an Apple. I'm sure there's other spots if you're using other computers of where your downloads go to. So just remember where that folder is and you can bring it back in. Another thing, I just wanted to see if there's something else that I can work with, since that one had it a little bit. Here we go. So I'm going to pick this one. Obviously, this one has like a brand name in the back. It's got the license plate. So those are things I might want to change if I'm posting this on my company account. Obviously, there might be restrictions depending on what you're doing specifically, but typically we don't like to use ones with brand names. We'll try to kind of scrub that out. And so that'll be one of the things I will show you next, as far as taking these images and then going in and kind of creating the content from it. So I'm going to download this one, and that one heads down there. So now let me see if I can switch this out. And we are going to bring up our Photoshop. So what I want to do is we're going to bring up this first image. I don't know if you can see this one. And I'm going to bring it in. I'm creating a new one. This isn't looking right. Excuse me one sec as I try to figure all this out. Let's see here. Grab that. There we go. So now I've got this image brought into here. And let me work around here. I'm going to bring in our... So now if I'm going to take this and I want to add a logo to it, I'm going to bring in our eye magnet. Put it over here. Got to bear with me. I apologize. There it is. All right. So we've got this image. And now let's say there's lots of different things you can do with this. I'm just going to pull and drag in, as you can, hopefully you can see here, the eye magnet logo, and kind of bring that up, and we'll place it in. So I'm not essentially going to give you a Photoshop tutorial today, because there's lots of different things that will go on with this. But quickly, if you have something like this and you have Photoshop, but you don't really know how to use it, what we can do here is, first, I'm going to just rasterize this layer, which means that I can edit it how I need to. From there, I'm going to grab the magic wand tool, make sure I have that highlighted, and just click on the background, and it removes it. And so you can see there's still some space that might have some stuff that I want to get rid of. We'll bring that in and we'll kind of clear this out. So obviously, if you're not proficient with Photoshop, I'm sure this looks like a lot. And for me personally, when I'm looking at this up close, I see a lot of these little, if I zoom in on this, it's not clear and crisp on the letters. You can kind of tell there's a little bit of fuzziness and some, it's because it's not a high quality image that I grabbed and put in here. But that's if somebody's looking at it super close. You can kind of tell it's hard to see from that spot. But one of the things I'm going to do, is kind of give this a glow. And then that can help kind of eliminate some of that. And it'll also make it kind of pop out a little bit more on the darker background. So we're going to stick with that. One of the things that I love about Photoshop, and it's a little bit harder, I would try to do with this, is now I mentioned this on the first episode that I was with Patric, was the Photoshop beta. And that's where you can kind of manipulate the image in ways that AI can kind of distort and do different things with. And so with this one, it's a little bit trickier. Like you could go in and see that there is a license plate there, but it's hard to see. Like the only way, I guess, you can see it there. And so now they've taken the generative fill with AI and have taken it out of the beta, and now it's available across all Photoshop applications. So what you can do is you can use either, let me get this and I can go back to it, is this lasso tool. Or you could use the marquee tool as well. And so you can see it automatically comes up with this generative fill. And a lot of times it wants you to be very specific. Again, just like picking out the content from before, is go in here and actually make sure that it what you're trying to say is specific. So I'm just going to write remove letters and see what it does. It might take a second for it to load up here. As you can see, it's kind of going there. This one, it kind of blurted out, but essentially that's what I was looking for, because when we zoom back out, you're not really going to be able to tell that this person's license plate is there, or to be able to read the license plate. So essentially I'm going to leave it as is, and then that's one where you would export and save it as. So, but I'm going to use this one since it's a little bit clear. If it comes up, there we go. And we will bring it in here, and I will kind of show you a little bit more as far as what the AI can do when it comes to this. Let me remove this one. Make sure there's no comments or questions. If you have any questions, let me know. So one of the things that, like I said, you can go through, and let's use this tool, and we'll zoom in. And I've always been a big proponent of trying to remove people's license plates, especially too if you're a shop owner doing window tint and you take pictures. This person obviously has a high-end car, and you could probably, I know it's overkill sometimes, but I don't like posting someone's license plate, because you can go back and kind of look up somebody's address or whatever it might be just from their license plate. So what we're going to do is, again, I'm going to bring this up, and we'll just say replace letters and numbers with I've done this before, with a surfer. So who knows what this is actually going to create? And that's kind of the point. I wanted to see if there's something. A lot of times when you do this, you'll put in something and it's like, that is not what I wanted at all. So let's generate this. Again, it's going to take a minute. And one of the things I didn't show in the last one was that it gives you a few different options as far as what you can do with this. So we're almost at the end here. This one looks weird. So now you've got a hand kind of, I don't know why that would be a surfer. This one, it kind of created some sort of a block over the top of it. And this looks like some random letters. So let's change this. And a lot of times it says just be specific. So we'll just put white space and see what happens. And I know this is very specific as far as the license plate. I'll try to create something as far as the background here in a minute. And that way too, if you're ever playing around, and so again, this is, I asked for a white space, it did black. This one, at least it kind of blurted out, which might be what I use. And I think that's, for the time being, I think that's the best case. So we've kind of blurred out that. What we can do too is, I'm going to go back to this tool and let's put in here remove people, and we'll see if it can kind of get rid of them and just have the blank storefront. A lot of times, again, you have to try a few times with this, and we'll see if this is actually going to work. So there you go. The only thing, as you can notice, yes, it removed the people, but it changed the Bentley logo. And it kind of changes the front of the car. So those are the things you usually have to be aware of as far as that goes. What I can do too is make sure I don't include the car so that it stays as is. I know this is a lot of me typing and not talking, so I apologize. But that's the thing with this Photoshop beta, is that it can be a little tricky to kind of figure out. And so, like I said, if you do have this, I hope you're playing around with it, because there's a lot of different things that you can do with this. And there you go. So there is a little bit of something going on there. We'll go back and we'll stick with this. And again, too, you can, here's one other thing. Let me see if I can get this. So if you go to this main one, you can select subject, which is another added feature with the update to Photoshop. And what I can do is essentially make a copy of this, so I can, let me remove this. So now we just have the vehicle itself. And what you can do, since I'm kind of hiding this, we'll bring this back, but we will remove the people. And let me try, let's see, one last thing on here. We'll see how good this can do. So hopefully it creates a shorter storefront and then creates a sunset in the background. So if you want to put this in a totally different place and it removes the Louis Vuitton logo that's there, this can be an option. So there you go. So it kind of made the storefront a little shorter, and we can change those up. I like the first one. And so now we have a completely new image. Essentially, there's people through the window, but for the most part, we don't have anything kind of showing. And then again, we're just going to go, if I can do this. There we go. Go and drop this in. We'll do this fast. So now what I want to show and hopefully I'm not going too overboard. So now we've gone and we've found an image. We've gone and created a new image from what we had. If you're able to use Photoshop and kind of can change up how everything looks. And you kind of take care of that, and then you kind of have a whole new image from that. From there, let me go back here, and I'm going to save this one. So now you've created this image. So now if you want to go and use this online, we're going to export this one. One of the things that we've always have that we use whenever we're doing this type of thing. Let me stop sharing. Hello again. Is we will use the Geoimgr to add in a bunch of information into this image. So that way when you're posting this or using this on especially Google Business, a lot of times, and the thing that we've noticed is a lot of the data can be scraped away when you're just posting this on social media. So this essentially is not going to be something that'll benefit you as far as the social means, but if you're using it for a Google post, and which will, if I have time, we'll kind of show how that goes. It'll be super beneficial because you can add in a bunch of SEO into the image itself, and that way it'll help with the Google search. So as this loads, you can kind of see here. So there's a map that we can add a location into this, and we can also add in keywords and a descriptive text. So I'm in Chicago, but iMagnet is based out of Chagrin Falls. Oops, not .com. So we will add that. You can kind of see here, it gives us a location outside of Cleveland. And so we want to add this location data into the photo. So if somebody is searching in Chagrin Falls for whatever we kind of add to the keywords, so let's say we want to do window tint, window film, paint protection film. I apologize for Siri. PPF. Let's do ceramic coating. Installer near you. Let's add in Cleveland. So now we've added all of these keywords into this images, or we're about to add all this in. So now you have keywords. So if somebody is searching on Google and one of these keywords hits, you're more likely to show up in the feed if you're around Chagrin Falls. So that's super helpful as far as putting in SEO into your content. So this can be something too that we use on websites. So if you have different images that are on your website, you have this data implemented into the photo, and then as well if you're doing Google Business. So now we'll add in a descriptive. So your, if I can spell, Premiere, window film, and PPF installer in Chagrin Falls, Ohio. So now you've got all of this data kind of added into this, and then so you're going to write it. And so essentially that's putting all of this into this image, and now we're going to download it. And so let's see if, I don't know if you can see this. Let's see if I can share that. No. So I'm going to remove out of here. All right, so we've got this image. Let me make sure I can see everything. Yep. And so now if you were to go to the info, hopefully that, I don't know if that's showing up. Let me see if I can show that one. Doesn't look like it. I apologize. Let me jump in here. Or actually, let me do this. Hopefully it doesn't send us down a rabbit hole. Shoot. So now I've clicked on this info button here. And so now what you can do, it'll show you the information that we've loaded. And so you can see here now it has a map of where this image is located from, as well as if you click on the search, it shows you all the different keywords that are there. So all this information from having nothing is now added into that, which is super helpful as far as that goes. And then you have the ability to, like I said, put this on your website, put this into your Google business page, which is the last thing I'll show you. And again, I'm sorry, I'm peppering you with a bunch of stuff. I just kind of wanted to show you this process, and we got about 3 minutes. I haven't seen any questions come in. That's okay. So then we're going to take this image that we've created, that we've now geotagged, and we put a bunch of information into it. And then we're going to go and post it onto our page. So this is my Ronnie West page. If I want to go through, and obviously it would be if we were to do the iMagnet page. So let me go back here. So typically it might be, you might be looking at something more along the lines of this. If you only have one page, we have multiple. The other one I have has a whole bunch, where you can go in and then add a photo, or you should be able to add an update. So if I'm just going to add the photo, so what I can do is just, it brings you to the same spot, select the photo. I can go through and I'll add this one. And then that will be put onto the profile, which I'll show you here in a second. And then we'll also do an update as well. So we suggest doing this on both just because it's helpful for your SEO. So then again, we're going to go to add an update, and you can see that little logo looks the same as this one that's here. So we're going to go add an update. And the same thing, you can go in, add the photo. But with this one, you can add a link to your website and actually add some text. So it's very much just like, essentially like a post, but it's a little bit different, and it's essentially through Google Business. So all your car custom needs. And if you were to add in more keywords, the best window film installer in, obviously we don't install window film. And then you can go in and add the link. And post. And so now you can see there's kind of, it'll give you some different stuff on here. But when somebody comes to your page, after they've searched and they find you, on the photos, it'll show up. If somebody clicks here, they'll see this photo show up. And then also when you scroll down, you'll have a spot for posts, which should be here. And this will kind of give all the different updates that you've done, and it'll show this post specifically there. Obviously, this one's taking a little bit of time, but that's where that would show up. So if we were to do, actually, that's, I don't know where that's, why that's not showing up, but there should be different ones that would be there if you've done this multiple times. And I think it takes a little bit for it to actually show up. Yeah, again, I don't know why it's doing that. But this would help build your SEO. And then that way, if the more that you post on there, the more likely you're going to show up in the feed. And when people are searching for your product or service. All right, so hopefully that was helpful. We kind of went through the creation process. One of the things I always want to make sure is that people understand what we're doing and can help you guys out. If you have any questions, please let us know. I hope this helped out in some sort of way. And I'm sure all of you will be happy to have Patric back next week rather than just having me ramble on about certain things. But we will make sure that we are back next week. Again, if you see Patric at SEMA, make sure to go ask him your questions. He doesn't have a booth, unlike what we did at the Window Film Conference, but he will be around all week. I think he's there until Friday. So hopefully you guys will see him out and about within all different all the different spaces throughout SEMA that are there. In any case, I hope you guys have a great week. Again, stay warm. Happy Halloween. I hope you guys all have a safe and fun Halloween tomorrow, and we will see you guys next week. Thanks for watching.